Welcome to the very first show of Irish Football Weekly, where we talk Notre Dame football here on The Grueling Truth. My name is Josh Benjamin, host of The Real Deal as well, and my co-host, his name is Tony Hunter, a former tight end for the Irish teams from 1979 to 1982, who is also a first-round draft pick, 12th overall, correct me if I'm wrong, Tony, by the Buffalo Bills in the 1983 draft. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Awesome. You can catch us each week on our website, thegruelingtruth.net, Stitcher, Spreaker, iTunes, Google Music, and iHeartRadio. So we're going to first start with the previous game, which was against the Texas Longhorns, of course, which was a 50-47 loss in double overtime down in Austin, Texas last Sunday.
Great game.
It was a great game, and we'll talk about that in just a second. But they dropped from number 10 in the AP poll to number 18 for week 2. But, you know, and I know we're going to talk about some things here in just a second. They showed some promise, didn't they, Tony?
Yeah, you know what, Josh? I was really encouraged by the game, by what I saw in the game. They showed a lot of fight. We're young, but I was encouraged.
Yeah, and you know, some stats I'm just going to read off here. DeShone Kizer, which I'm pretty sure he just won the quarterback position as a starter. He threw for.
I hope so, Josh. I hope so. I hope that quarterback shuffling stuff is over with.
I'm with you. I wasn't a big fan of it either, and I was hoping one would just emerge from them. Either one, I didn't really care because I've seen promise in both of them, seen them flash some good spots, but. You know, DeShone Kizer, like I said, threw for 5 touchdowns and ran for 1 in that loss to Texas. I mean, that's remarkable.
Wow. Yeah, I think offensively with Kizer at quarterback, Josh, I think we'll be more explosive, and I think we'll be a lot more explosive. And I really like Kizer. I think he's he played a whole year last year, got some great experience, some valuable experience the whole year as a freshman. So he's going to be even better this year. I think we should ride with him and let him develop and become a great one. I think he can be.
I totally agree. He showed a lot of poise from what I saw in certain spots of when maybe someone who's not experienced would kind of fold maybe or maybe just develop into something that isn't successful. And so I totally agree. DeShone Kizer, in my books, is the starting quarterback for the Irish for this year. Along with him, we had Folston had 88 rushing yards, you know, coming back from last year's ACL tear from the game against Texas. Probably, I think, that's the third rushing game.
Wow, I didn't realize he ran for that much yardage. That's a pretty good game for him.
Yeah, and, you know, going back to Kizer, he ran for 78 yards. So those two guys combined, not even including what Josh Adams did, that's a pretty good rushing attack just with them two. Do you agree?
Yeah, definitely. And I know our receivers seem young but talented. I think they'll develop as the season goes on. And I really think our offense, it could be powerful. I think we'll be tough to stop. The passing attack, I think we'll put up a lot of points this year. But defensively, we have to stop some people.
Yes, giving up 50 points, we definitely need to do that. That that inexperience showed out there on the defensive side. So
definitely. And you know what? Another thing, Josh, defensively, I don't think that quarterback for Texas was touched before the third quarter yesterday. I mean, he's a freshman. I thought they would put pressure on him, but I don't think he was actually even touched before the third quarter of that game.
Yeah, I think I kind of noticed that after maybe the first quarter, but I didn't notice it for that long. And, man, either one of two things happened. That the offensive line for Texas said, we got a freshman at quarterback. Let's make sure he doesn't get touched, make sure he feels good back there. Or, the D lineman for the Irish kind of just didn't cut it that day. It wasn't their best day, but
right.
I agree with you. He I don't think he had any kind of dirt or grass stain in the back of his jersey, so
No. I mean, he was out there. It was a picnic for him all day long. I was frustrated. I said, why don't we rush this passer? He's a freshman. Let's get him rattled a little bit. Get him, get his timing off a little bit. But, I mean, he stood back there and threw that ball the whole day, and I don't believe he was sacked, not once.
And correct me if I'm wrong, Tony, but if you're a defense and the coordinator, somebody on the defense, you want to make that quarterback uncomfortable, make him roll out, make him come up in the pocket. You want him to rush throws, tip throws, things like that.
Exactly. And I mean, the guy's a freshman. He was a freshman. I mean, it seemed like we've been doing some blitzing with the safeties, with the linebackers, anything to put pressure on that quarterback. But we didn't, and he stood back there and he picked us apart the whole game. And I don't know, it made our defensive line and defensive backfield look a little suspect to me. I don't know about you. Did you see that? Did you notice that?
Yes. I can't remember the receiver's name right now. For some reason, I'm drawing a blank for Texas. But I believe he was a track star, and I mean, he dropped the first ball, I think it was in the second quarter, and he would have had an easy touchdown. He was probably 2 or 3 steps behind the DB. He just dropped it it would have been a long touchdown reception. But that happened
I remember that.
Other times. I mean, he caught, another one for a touchdown and kind of spread the points out with the Texas scoring on that. But, yeah, I mean, with a young secondary, and maybe not all of them are young, but most of them are, and, you think that possibly the defensive coordinator would have also kind of controlled that in his own sense with his scheme. Do you agree?
Yeah, I thought, I don't know, I thought maybe some schemes with more blitzing, more of the linebackers, safeties, some way to apply more pressure to that quarterback. I just thought that he was given too much time to sit back there and it was just kind of like a walk in the park day for him. He looked really comfortable out there. I said, why don't we rush this guy? But, so that's what I was feeling as I watched it.
And to kind of piggy off what you just said, that's what happens if you don't rush any quarterback for that matter. You kind of leave your secondary out to dry and
definitely
a longer play, which gives the possibility of someone tripping, someone getting beat deep,
right?
Someone getting juked out of their shorts, and that's not good for the secondary either. So it's kind of a whole defensive unit that needs to kind of get back together and refocus for the Saturday game against Nevada.
Definitely. Got some things to work on defensively. Offensively, though, I think we're going to be high-powered. If we keep it up, if we keep it going, I think we're going to be high-powered, and I think we'll outscore a lot of people.
Well, a couple stats real quick for our receivers, which I think will be very crucial in this offense. One, because Coach Kelly said something along the lines of, we want to be able to do whatever we want to do, if that makes sense, in the sense of being more balanced. And I thought they did a pretty decent job of being balanced because you had, I think, 4 receivers score a touchdown. St. Brown had 2, and then C.J. Sanders and Josh Adams and Torrey Hunter Jr. all had a TD reception. And so that's excellent, with the passing game and with the rushing game that we just talked about earlier. That's pretty balanced.
Yeah, that's a lot of production, no doubt.
And so, having that same production this week is pretty crucial. And, kudos to the offensive line for giving Kaiser and those guys some time and those holes to run in, because it was a big offensive day for the Irish, that's for sure.
Yeah, definitely. It's good to see that we've got a big, strong, good offensive line this year. I think that's going to be one of our strong points for the season. That'll go a long way as the season wears on if we can stay healthy with that line.
Now, jumping back to defense just for a few seconds for some stats that I thought were kind of crucial. Niles Morgan had 13 total tackles in that game against Texas, and the other team captain, Isaac Rochelle, had a couple sacks for loss. Sean Crawford Cole Luck, they had a sack and interception. Now, obviously, we know what happened as far as giving up yards. It was a little bit over 500 yards, actually, of total.
Wow.
So, that's never a good sign when you have that many yards of offense given up. And
that's a lot. That is a lot.
And something even more so, I found this stat, Tony. They were 100% in the red zone on scoring, 7 for 7.
Not good. Which means we didn't give them any resistance in the red zone. Not as much resistance as we should have been given. So
I think the staff will have something.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Josh.
No, I was just going to say the coaching staff will probably reiterate red zone this week, and trying to make sure that that percentage goes down. Whether it's being tougher, fighting the grind, technique, whatever the case may be. But anyway, I just want to throw that stat out because that's pretty important. And the last thing I was going to say was the Irish had 7 first-time starters in this whole game on offense.
That's when I was 7 first-time starters.
Yeah, 7 first-time starters in the game.
Wow. And we lost quite a few guys last year. Quite a few guys from last year's team, they're playing in the NFL right now. So.
Yeah, Sheldon Day, Will Fuller, for example. 2 guys on both sides that contributed quite a bit.
Right.
So, yeah, some pretty key losses there to the NFL. Some injuries that I just happened to see during the game. The Torrey Hunter Jr., I want to say it's targeting. I don't know about you, but I want to say it's targeting when it comes to that. I thought the helmet was helmet-to-helmet on the.
Yeah, I thought that was we got homered on that non-call. That was pretty blatant to me, and it should have been called. Yeah, that one should have been called.
When you have 3 guys around them, and that's the main focus nowadays. Is, correct me if I'm wrong, Tony, is safety.
Right.
Safety. And I truly thought that they were going to throw the flag immediately, and
I did too.
So
I did too. Yeah, I really thought they should have called that because it was pretty obvious that he led with the head, and it was pretty obvious to me.
Yeah.
In the NFL, they definitely would have called that.
Absolutely, I couldn't agree more. That as soon as I didn't see the flag thrown, I was like, the NFL, that's a done deal. They're throwing that flag right now, without even before the hit.
Yeah, have you heard anything about his health? Whether or not he's okay, Torrey Hunter?
Well, I know he's still questionable for this week. So they're probably doing the normal concussion protocol testing. So he's questionable, and so is Avery Sebastian. He's unclear for this week as well. But yeah, some guys that are kind of important. Torrey Hunter Jr., a captain, wide receiver. Had a pretty decent game, had a touchdown reception. So definitely need him back for this week if possible. If not, then we'll roll with those younger guys and go that route. So this week. Are we ready to talk about this week? I'm ready to talk about this week. Nevada, it's definitely a winnable ball game. It's at home, the home opener, September 10th, this Saturday at 3:30 Eastern Time up in South Bend. Did you realize this is the second all-time meeting versus Nevada? I never would have thought that.
I don't remember ever playing. I know we never played against them while I was there, and I don't remember any other time that Notre Dame has played Nevada.
Well, I'm going to kind of go off that and say they played them once and they beat them once. It was in 2009.
Okay.
And actually a specific time in that game, Jimmy Clausen and Michael Floyd pretty much lit it up, and they actually gave I think it was a third in history, Notre Dame history, with an 88-yard connection between the two.
Okay.
So some big things happened there with them two. And
did they win the first game? Nevada win in week 1?
They won this week. Yeah, they won against Cal Poly, 30-27. So they're 1-0 coming off a win. Which they obviously know that this week's an even bigger match. But
everybody gets fired up to play Notre Dame, you know.
Yeah, especially there, and that's and I have a fun fact at the very end, which will kind of deem why it's such a good, a great place, great atmosphere to play at, and obviously you can speak for that.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Been in there. So.
Yeah, during the time that I was at Notre Dame, our playing field, the surface, the grass, I mean, still to this day, that's the best field I ever played on during that time. I mean, the grass was soft, it was thick, great place to play football.
And I have a short story. I went to a kicking camp at Notre Dame when I was a sophomore in high school. We got to go into the stadium and go to the meeting rooms and things, like go to the locker room, which you had to tap the play like a champion 3 times. You couldn't leave without doing that. They wouldn't let you, I promise. They said one kid didn't do it. I guess he wasn't familiar with doing that, and they had him walk back in and do it and walk back out. So, but going back to the playing surface, Tony, they had that thing marked off. No one could go on it. No one could touch it. It was like it was a place where no one went, and
right,
security there.
Right, yeah, and I'm telling you that was I don't know how they protected it throughout South Bend's rough winters, but we had the best playing field of anybody we played against in college, and I've been to a lot of NFL stadiums, but I have yet to play on a surface as nice as the one at Notre Dame.
Yeah, just the tradition, obviously, and the things that are around the stadium that kind of make that stadium even better, coming from different universities or a fan that's coming to the game. It's a great place, and we can talk about that for days, I would think. What do you think?
Yeah, definitely.
So this week I found out that freshman safety Devin Studstill will start this week. So another younger guy in the secondary this week, which, his last name's Studstill, by the way, Studstill. So this isn't funny at all because I'm not very comedy guy, I guess. But if he plays like a stud, this
yeah,
he will still be in the lineup next week. So Studstill, if he does well at safety, that freshman, obviously he'll stay in there and do a good job.
Is he a quarterback? He's a corner, or is he a safety?
He's a safety. That's what he has listed as. So he could play corner, probably. I would assume so, being a younger guy, being able to change positions as well.
Yeah. I kind of figured that they'd be looking to make some changes in that defensive backfield because, man, it looked like Texas was just running right. Their receivers were just running right past us at will yesterday.
They were pretty fast, and I'm not sure the actual temperature, and I'm not giving excuses, but maybe the heat, the humidity. I know in Texas it's not as humid, I guess, but maybe the heat got to the guys a little bit more than Texas guys because they're used to it. I don't know, but it did.
I don't know. I mean, this started in the first quarter, though, Josh. I mean, they were running right past our corners in the first quarter. So I don't know. Maybe the technique, a little more bump and run or something. We can rectify that situation. But Texas normally has a lot of fast guys. They normally have a fast team, and their wide receivers, a lot of them are world-class sprinters. And it showed our speed in the defensive backfield. It showed, or lack of speed.
Yeah, that's true. I give a lot of credit to the Texas offensive coordinator, Sterling Gilbert, coming in. This is his first year there, and giving confidence to that quarterback, and then obviously that whole offense, because that's a totally different offense. Just touching on them for just a second, they went up tempo quite a bit. That could have been a factor because How many teams run up-tempo against Notre Dame, especially at the beginning of the year? Who knows? I mean, I'm not sure if there's anything around there that tells you, but so maybe the up-tempo offense got them winded. What do you think?
Yeah, it kept the pressure on us, no doubt about that.
Yeah, it didn't give them time to think or maybe even adjust, so that could have been a factor as well. But kudos to them. Looking at this week, what would be some key factors in your mind, Tony, on how the Irish can bounce back from that loss?
Well, I think the main thing would be no more quarterback shuffling stuff. Let's go with Kaiser. Let's let him. He's had a full year under his belt, and that's great experience for him. I think he's ready to just grow into a fantastic college or maybe even pro player. I think we need to put him out there and let him play, spread that ball around, and try to see if we get some receivers. Well, the receivers had a great game this past game, but I'd love to play in that offense. I mean, you can catch a lot of balls with Kaiser throwing it the way he does, and I'm pretty sure the other receivers, they look forward to it too. But I think we can have a fantastic season offensively and defensively. I'd like to see us kind of work some schemes to get to the quarterback there. We can't let quarterbacks just sit back there and pick us apart like that. If it's whether it be the defensive linemen or the blitz packages or whatever, we need to put more pressure on the quarterback.
Yeah, I think maybe just scrapping whatever they did last week as far as a philosophy and just scrapping that and starting, a brand new attitude, a brand new way, like you said, some schemes to run against a team that does pass the ball and going after the quarterback, making them aggressive guys again up on the front line and, of course, the linebackers.
Right.
I think that's crucial. Some notes that I put down for this week. Don't look past this. Don't look past this game, Tony. I mean, they have Michigan State coming up next week, so we got to make sure they're focused, right? I mean,
yeah, definitely. We need to get a win for the season. We need to get our first win for the season, so we definitely can't overlook Nevada. I don't think we will because we could have very easily won that game against Texas, but we didn't. So we're still looking for our first win of the season, and we can get it at home against Nevada next week. So I don't think there'll be a letdown. I think guys will be ready to come out and get a win under their belts.
Yeah, I think so too. I think Coach Kelly, I've seen him on TV a few times get real excited, so I don't think that'll be an issue this week. So I totally agree with you. Defending the pass, that goes with what we said earlier, what happened in Texas game, making sure that the D-line linebackers get in pressure the quarterback some, making them feel uncomfortable. But also that secondary needs to communicate a little bit so that they're all on the same page so they can make sure none of them. I mean, I would rather give up a 10-yard out than a 35-yard touchdown pass. So
right.
The phrase "keep be deeper than the deepest." I don't know if that applies to their scheme, but hopefully it does. And it comes to those fade routes, those streaks.
Yeah, they were getting behind our quarterbacks pretty easy. So we'll see what kind of adjustments are made there, whether it be personnel or scheme. But there definitely needs to be some adjusting down there.
Go ahead, Sam.
Man, if we can get that running game cranked up again, which is Folsom, get that running game cranked up. And like I said, I really believe that with Kaiser, that offense can be really explosive this year. I think we can rack up a lot of points.
I'm excited about the offense, and that's what I put. I just put distribute the ball accordingly, whether that's a receiver, a running back, or Kaiser, tight end, whoever. I mean, they look pretty flawless when it comes to kind of doing whatever they want, and hopefully that continues this week. Staying balanced in my offensive philosophy as a coach, being balanced is, important, because now you have defense thinking about multiple people, multiple threats.
Right.
That's a great thing that Coach Kelly and the offense have going on there up in Notre Dame. So keeping it balanced is important. And like you said, it could be very, very potent offense this year.
Oh yeah. Definitely.
Okay,
I think they'll be very tough to stop. But on the other hand, like I said, we are going to have to stop some people on defense too. But I think we're going to put up a lot of points with that offense.
What do you think about this, Tony? And I just thought about this. What about our offense being our best defense? Maybe we work on clock control a little bit as we gain yards down the field, and ensure the defense isn't on there a whole bunch of times during the game. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, ball control.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? I think Kaiser's the kind of quarterback where you can do that. I mean, I saw a little bit of that in the last game against Texas, throwing shorter, intermediate type routes for receptions. I think they can. I think we have the personnel offensively to do that. But I just really think that they'll be explosive. They'll just – I see them getting better and better, and just looking to see who the receivers are going to step up and catch some of those balls, man. I'd be licking my chops if I was in that offense with Kaiser throwing the ball like that. So.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you. Yeah, that'd be the offense would be a player, and because one out of how many tries you're going to get the ball, you have the possibility of getting to every play even.
Oh man, that would be a lot of fun to play in that offense.
Yes, couldn't agree more. So we're at this point in the show, Tony. We have to give our prediction. It's Irish prediction time. We need to give a score and who wins. What are your thoughts on this week as far as score?
Okay. I think we're going to put up a lot of points. Not 50. I would say Irish 30, Nevada 14. 30-14.
30-14 Irish. Mine's pretty similar. I gave a little bit more points to both sides because I'm still. I hope the Irish bounce back defensively big time and give up 14. Yep. But I have had to getting 21 on them. But the Irish are going to double them up and get 42. So I think it's 42-21 Irish this week. And
that sounds good.
The flourish. Yeah, I hope either score I'm good with, Tony, as long as Irish win.
Same here. We just need a win. We need a win, and everything else will take care of itself, I think.
Yes, sir. So also we have some different things going on. So we have the 3 toughest picks of the week. So let me explain to the listeners what I did. I went through the schedule for week 2 in college football, and I tried to pick. Usually it's 2 ranked teams, but this week 2 is usually, to those fans out there, week 2 is usually the, I don't want to say it, but I'm going to say it, cupcake week for a lot of those top teams. And so, but there was a couple that I thought were pretty intriguing. So we have to make our picks on each of these. The first game, Tony, is Virginia Tech at number 17, Tennessee. And Tennessee looked shaky week 1. I think I can't remember exactly who they played, but they didn't look good at all for being a top-ranked team. And so I think I'm going to go Virginia Tech, even though it is at Tennessee.
Yeah, I was going to ask you that. Is it at Tennessee? I can remember playing at Tennessee when I was at Notre Dame, and that was my freshman year, I believe it was. But, man, they had a lot of athletes on that team. I still remember that. And I think they beat us down there. And they had about 80,000 people in that stadium. And it was burnt orange. I can still remember all the orange that I saw. So it was I was just wondering, where in the heck did all these people come from? Because it's kind of isolated. Where the stadium is, it's isolated. But they packed that place. I would pick Tennessee at home if they're at home.
Okay. I have you for Tennessee. I have me for Virginia Tech. So when you were down, let me ask you a quick question. When you were in that stadium, did they play Rocky Mountain Top like every other down, did it seem like, or did they do that?
You know, I think Coach Devine was our coach at that time. And we were having a pretty good season. And I don't remember, but I think we were favored to beat them. But, man, they came out. They were all fired up, and they beat us. But I can just remember all the athletes they had. And like I said, that crowd, how they packed that stadium down there.
Yeah. I'm sure it was all burnt orange, like you said, down there.
Yeah, just a sea of burnt orange.
Well, okay, so we're different on that pick, which is fine, because we're kind of creating a little competition here. The next game is Iowa State at number 16 Iowa. So it's an interstate rivalry. So Iowa State at number 16 Iowa. I'm going to let you choose first this time.
Iowa State at Iowa. I'm going to go with Iowa at home. The Hawkeyes at home.
Okay. I think I'm going to go with you on that. I'm going to pick Iowa as well. I think they can still, being, the somewhat of a traditional rich football program there. So I'm with you on that. The last one we have here is Arkansas at number 15 TCU. So you have TCU that's ranked at home against an SEC team in Arkansas.
Yeah, TCU. I haven't seen either one of them this year. Arkansas is at TCU.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I think I'm going to stay consistent and go with the home team. I say TCU wins at home.
Okay. Well, I'm going to go against you on this one. So one of us are going to look really good next week, Tony. I don't know which one, but I'm going to go with Arkansas, SEC team. Coach, I think Billme's down there, still down from Wisconsin, so he moved down there a few years back. But so one of us is going to look real good, Tony. It's probably going to be you because some of these teams I'm going out on a limb with. But
yeah, see, I don't know much about those teams, but I don't know. I kind of like the home team to. I think the home team should be favored. So we'll see, though. One thing's for sure, we'll see.
Yes, sir. That's correct. The other thing that I have is upset of the week, and usually it's a ranked team versus an unranked team. And I started this week with Virginia playing at number 24 Oregon. I know it's a huge drive or fly, I guess, there.
Yeah.
From Virginia to Oregon, but I just have this feeling that's the upset of the week is Virginia beating number 24 Oregon. What are your thoughts? What do you think about
it? You think so? So Virginia's ranked. Where's Virginia ranked at? Are they in the top 20 right now?
No, they're
okay.
Actually unranked.
Okay.
But Oregon has. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think they've had since really when they went to the national championship against Auburn. They've had some up and down as far as playing at home games. And it could possibly be one of those upset games. And that's why
it could be. It could be. I don't know, though, but I've always found it to be kind of tough to play up there in Oregon. Go way up there and play. You're at a higher altitude. I'll take Oregon in that one.
Okay. All right. So it seems like we're good hosts together because we always pick against each other, which is awesome.
Yeah. It'll be nice once the season gets going, and we'll get to learn more about the teams, and so.
Yep. Yeah, I agree with you. So, fun facts for the finish here. So we're on our last lap here with our first show of Irish Football Weekly. And I have a fun fact, and you may already know this, Tony. I didn't even know this. This weekend will be the the 250th straight sellout at Notre Dame Stadium.
Wow.
I didn't know that.
Wow. 250. That's a lot of sellouts. That's a lot of sellouts. My goodness.
Yeah. So a lot of people obviously are obsessed. Fans. All the above with the Irish, obviously, and good reason. Since 1964, there's only been one home game that hasn't been a sellout, and that was in 1973. I think right before you played on Thanksgiving versus Air Force.
Is that right? Okay. I came in 79. Well, I graduated high school in 79.
Okay. So, just, 6 or 7 years before you. And that makes – so this is the other fun fact, I guess. That makes out of the last 300 home games, 299 of them have been sold out in the last 51 years.
Wow. I'd say we have a pretty strong program.
Yeah, I mean, with the backing of alum like yourself, and obviously people who attended Notre Dame but maybe didn't play a sport, and obviously fans across the nation, and I didn't start becoming an Irish fan until I started to grow up, and my whole dad's side of the family were pretty much Irish fans and still are to this day. And
is that right? Okay.
That's right. Yeah, and so I think actually my dad's around your age, and so you played at Moeller High School. Is that correct?
Yeah, I played at Moeller. Yep.
So
I went to Notre Dame. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Josh.
No, go ahead.
When I came out of Moeller in 79, I went to Notre Dame and I played 2 years under Dan Devine. And then going into my junior year, I found out that Coach Faust was going to be rejoining me at Notre Dame. And that was, I'll tell you what, that was a happy day. When I found that out, I was walking on campus and one of my fellow students stopped me. He said, "Did you hear the news?" And I said, "No, what?" He said, "Jerry Faust just got hired as Notre Dame's next head coach." I said, "No, are you serious?" He said, "Yeah, he's coming here." Man, I flew upstairs to my dorm room and called Coach Faust. I said, "Is it true?" He said, "Yeah, I'm coming, Tony." That was a great day.
That's awesome. That's real awesome. What I was going to say was my father's side of the family all went to Roger Bacon, so I'm sure you guys may have crossed some paths, maybe, I don't know, but at least a couple of them, because my dad has several siblings, so 9 at that matter. But anyway, so yeah.
Wow. Well, we were in the GCL together. We played against them every year. We played Bacon every year.
Yeah, and hearing stories, I know we're talking about Irish football, but high school football in Cincinnati is really one of the best in the nation as far as competition and the high level. It goes further even back before you even played in the 70s, and I hear a bunch of stories, so that's awesome. That's a great connection there.
Oh yeah, it's very much respected. Cincinnati high school football is very well respected around this country. A lot of people knew. I was surprised at the number of people that knew about Moeller when I was in the NFL and just going around the country. I was surprised at how many people knew about Moeller and that knew about Cincinnati high school football.
Yeah, it's pretty remarkable to have just a one city, regardless of how big it is, be noticed for their expertise, I guess, their ability to play football at high school level. So. Oh yeah, it's great.
That's what I think. The coaching, you get really good coaching, and well, I know I did at Moeller. That's what kind of sets it apart. I think we have some great coaching here in Cincinnati.
Absolutely. Well, Tony, I think it's time. I think.
All right, Josh.
So
I enjoyed it, buddy.
Yeah, it was awesome. Kind of that's pretty much wrapping up week 1 with Irish Football Weekly.
Okay.
Don't forget to check out our website, listeners out there. to thegruelingtruth.net, which will have multiple shows of your liking. For example, my own show, The Real Deal, but also Irish Football Weekly and several others. You can listen to any of them anytime you'd like, whether it's Stitcher, Spreaker, Google Music, iTunes, or iHeartRadio. Tony, for my host, Tony Hunter, big fun there. Heck yeah. This is Josh Benjamin.
All right. It was a pleasure, buddy. I love talking football. I love talking Notre Dame football, definitely.
Oh, man, I can't wait for next week. So, listeners out there, thanks for listening. This is Josh Benjamin signing off with my co-host, Tony Hunter for Irish Football Weekly. Everyone out there, go Irish. Peace.